Tonight, 13.5 million. That's how many people have been stalked in a one-year period in the U.S. It's a scary reality, and the vast majority are stalked by someone they know, not just someone hiding in the bushes. 42% of stalking victims are stalked by an acquaintance, 40% by a current or former intimate partner.
It steals your soul, absolutely steals your soul, and you'll never understand it until you go through it.
Now, it's considered stalking if the victim is followed, surveilled, threatened, or monitored. Think of things like Apple AirTags. They've been linked to crimes where victims have been tracked through the device. But there are other ways stalkers are tracking and following victims. Many victims have protective orders in place, but it's only up to the stalker to follow that protective order or face further punishment. That gap led to a new law in Louisiana, the first of its kind in the United States. After multiple protective orders against her husband, Christine Dowdle says her location was still being tracked without her knowing how. Then she got this notification from her car's GPS system. It says an authorized location-based service was turned on using software in the car. After her divorce, her ex-husband's phone was still connected to her car, and that's how he was tracking her. But when authorities reached out to the car manufacturer to remove him from the system, they refused to comply.
Mercedes at one point told me, he said, well, why don't you just ask him to uninstall the app? Well, we already had judge's orders telling him not to do things. At that point, she had also had sole and exclusive use awarded through the divorce proceedings. But their response was, ask him to uninstall the app.
So Louisiana lawmakers passed a bill to hold car manufacturers liable if they don't comply with protective orders. It requires car manufacturers in Louisiana to suspend remote access technology within 2 days of receiving a request, like a protective order or a restraining order. The bill also prevents car manufacturers from charging a fee for this service or contacting the abuser. If they violate the requirement, manufacturers could face fines of up to $1 million. That money from those fines would then be deposited into new survivor empowerment funds to help stalking and other domestic violence victims. All this was signed into law earlier this month, the first law like it in the country. Coming up next here.